So Andy Reid recently did an interview with Chris Sims and Mike Florio with NBC Sports. So I want to dive into that interview with you guys, give you some of my thoughts, and talk about a few interesting things that Coach Reid said that I want to highlight. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Cole. And if you love the Chiefs as much as I do, make sure to subscribe and turn notifications on to stay in the know with daily news about our favorite team. All right, let's dive into this interview with Andy Reid, Chris Sims, and Mike Florio. Andy was asked about the number one objective when it comes to improving the team. He didn't really give the number one objective, just mentioned the importance of using a balanced approach in the draft, free agency, and then players on the current roster / players you want to sign back and keep around. Chris Sims asked him about the Bengals loss and his thoughts on it, and Andy Reid said he's watched it a couple times already. Quote, there's no point in ducking it, end quote. So he's watched it and is already evaluating what they can do better next year. Chris Sims followed up and asked Andy if he would share any specifics of that game, what he saw and what the Chiefs could have done better, but Andy kind of dodged it. He didn't want to get into the details and instead just basically, for starters, said that there were things he could have done better, called better plays, make better decisions. But guys, I mean, he always says that. It's a very safe answer. We know as he's watching the game, he's seeing mistakes Mahomes made, missed throws, routes receivers messed up on, missed blocks by the O-line, more plays that EB called that he didn't like or didn't agree with at times. And then the same thing on the defensive side of the ball, blown coverages, play calling by Spags, all that stuff. He's seen all this, and we just hope they will address it in the offseason, which I assume they will, but he's not going to answer that right now on TV. That's not how Andy Reid rolls. Anyway, from here, he, as in Andy Reid, was complimented on his and EB's creativity and the unique plays they can come up with. Then he was asked how they balance all that creativity with basics of like meat and potato plays. And he answered and said this.
We have a good mix. Yeah. We throw them in there, and normally they work, but sometimes they don't. You always get criticized on the one that doesn't work. We try to have fun with it and do the best we can with it.
Florio asked Reid his thoughts on the overtime changes being proposed and what he personally wants to see the change be. And his answer to the interview was pretty much the exact same answer he gave in the presser after the Chiefs lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game in 2018. He did want to change, but more recently he's seen both sides of it, so he's more neutral on the decision. Sims asked how Reid handles Mahomes with balance by letting him be himself, but at the same time helping him come back to the basics. Reid responded saying,
I tell him to just keep firing. Being a quarterback is like being a farmer, right? There's always work to do, and my thing is always, what can you do to be better within the framework of what you are? Don't push it past that. You might ruin a good thing.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this video so far, can you do me a favor and hit that like button so that more Chiefs fans can find this content? Thank you so much. After that, Andy Reid then followed up talking about working in the past with quarterbacks like Brett Favre and Donovan McNabb and how that's actually helped him to be able to coach someone like Mahomes today. He works with their strengths and draws from that. Then this was said, which I found interesting.
Patrick's not as stubborn as Brett. I don't see that.
No, they're wired about the same.
That's
they both want to rip your throat out. It's one of those.
The reason I found this interesting is that sort of a little bit backs up what Eric Bieniemy said earlier last season about Mahomes regarding his competitive prick comment. I disagree with how EB said it. It was poorly worded, poorly executed. But when you hear that from EB, then we just heard what Andy Reid said. Here's what I think. Mahomes does a very good job on camera about maintaining composure, being professionally courteous. He has a lot of the right answers most of the time. But his desire to win and be great, we cannot be naive in thinking things don't get intense behind the scenes at times with Mahomes and company because of his competitive nature. Homie just wants to win. That was just a side tangent on that. Anyway, Andy Reid was then asked about Eric Bieniemy and why he doesn't have a head coaching job yet. Reid said, well, if you guys can find the reasons why, let me know because I'm not sure. I am his biggest fan too.
I'm not sure exactly what the thing is. I'm around him every day, and I think he's a great leader. He's got full grasp of the offense. He understands and respects the defensive side of the football, and and special teams. So he gets the whole picture. He's got the respect of our whole organization, of the players, coaches, and our front office. So
Reid then says, I can't tell you the answer because I don't know. I hope he can get a head coaching job in the future, though. He was then asked about Matt Nagy coming back, and some people surprised that Nagy would take a coaching job 2 spots lower than where he previously was as a head coach with the Bears. Reid responded saying he actually wasn't sure Nagy would be willing to do it, but working alongside Patrick Mahomes probably helped a bit in that decision. He also said it's a familiar place for him and, quote, a healthy environment. I found that comment worth highlighting and talking about because there's another little piece right there where they seem to contradict the article that recently surfaced about Bieniemy and the unhealthy environment the Chiefs have behind the scenes. I mean, Andy Reid literally said
it's a healthy environment for him.
Sounded legit, and I'm not sure he had that interview in mind or that article that surfaced in mind when he said that. I could be wrong, though. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. He ends the interview saying Nagy will be a head coach again someday down the road, so this is his opportunity to get back to it and keep swinging. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's a healthy environment behind the scenes? What do you think about Andy Reid saying that Nagy will be a head coach again down the road? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I saw something surface recently about the possibility of Nagy being Reid's replacement for the Chiefs when Andy retires. And that's pretty speculative as we have no idea when Andy Reid is retiring. And I have a feeling, unless major health issues come forth for some reason, I don't see him retiring for quite a while. I could be wrong. I just enjoyed this interview with Andy Reid. I enjoyed being able to see some fresh content from people on the team, and I'm very excited for this next season. So make sure you like and subscribe for more daily news about the Chiefs. And hey, check out the video here that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And until next time, let's go. How about those